We always said this was one of the most polarizing names as far as those
And
that covered it.
It
It still is, but at least in this sense, we've seen things start to stabilize. I think that's encouraging, a sign of a more mature company, a sign of a company that's been in the EV space much longer than so many of its peers.
Scoop! Inside Tesla's decision to build a $25,000 global car. All that and more, so let's get to it.
Time for FOMO, so we are looking at all things Tesla. Pretty much I'd say you could throw a dart and guarantee there's news on Tesla, which there is today. Several headlines. I was reading this pretty negative report from Gordon Johnson, who's a notorious bear on Tesla stock. It's very interesting, but I do know that Tesla is seeing some weakness today despite the overall market strength.
You know, I was actually thinking, and then maybe there's some analyst moves that I missed, but for Tesla, today is kind of quiet. I mean, the movement has been interesting because it's been higher, it's been lower, but you don't have that kind of shock factor headline the same way that you typically did, unless I'm missing some of them. But I do see comments on kind of how strong August was for Chinese car sales and what that means for Tesla, and of course Dan Ives weighing in on GM and Ford's upcoming potentially nightmarish situation, as he calls it, with some of the looming strike risks that are facing those Detroit-based automakers and not necessarily Tesla. And then, of course, Elon Musk making news as he typically does. But as far as Tesla, dollars and cents wise, I'm not seeing a ton.
It has been a light news week regarding Tesla. Let's just call this the calm before the storm. You can expect a Cybertruck delivery at the end of September, maybe early October, but you really have to dig to find any real relevant news about Tesla. But don't worry, the end of the year is bound to spark some fireworks.
You know what I've seen so much, though, social media attention specifically on the Cybertruck ever since they first announced that rollout earlier this summer. And then we are seeing, actually, they're expected to attend the Detroit Auto Show, which will be held September 13th through 24th for the first time in 8 years. The big question mark is if Elon Musk will attend. He has not attended the event since 2015. But then I was reading about all of the frenzy of the fans of the Cybertruck and naturally all things Tesla. And I was reading this really optimistic note that was really highlighting the fact that we could see some enthusiasm, particularly regarding the Cybertruck at the Detroit Auto Show. Actually, Future Fund's managing partner Gary Black did raise the possibility of them showcasing various features on the truck. Black stated he's very, very bullish on all things Tesla and the Cybertruck. That apart from really augmenting Tesla's volume, the fund manager expects the vehicle to give the rest of the company's EVs a volume boost through this halo effect. So that's the positive analyst noise I saw today. Now we'll move to the negative, which is from Gordon Johnson. He's the analyst that has that famous $24.33 price target on Tesla, saying that right now it's time to short Tesla stock again.
Just throw your money in a barbecue pit and light that shit on fire.
Barring banking crisis and the Federal Reserve rolling out more emergency loan facilities. He did say Tesla stock appears to have hit the skids imminently, and noted that there's been a slew of negative headwinds that have weighed on the shares, including the potential delay in their Giga Mexico until at least 2026, the production slowdown in Giga Texas, and Fremont production plants. Saying the demand side of the equation also doesn't paint a positive picture, given that Model Y inventories were at a record high despite their 10% discount. He pointed out weakness in weekly China insurance data for Tesla vehicles, saying that in Europe specifically that the sales were flat quarter over quarter. And he highlighted, I thought this was so interesting, some of these sell side comments that have been so negative around Tesla. Bernstein was one that suggests we could see some pressure in terms of EV prices even further than we've already seen this year. Also mentioned Deutsche Bank, which has flagged risks to Tesla's third quarter. But for every bear in this name, there's like 3 times as many bulls. I mean, that's just a fact. At this point, there's 46 analysts. There are 21 holds, so there is a more neutral stance, but there's 18 buys and then there's 4 sells. So you could argue that while there are those that are bears in this name, of course, naturally in balance, but there are so many more that are enthusiastic, like Dan Ives. And
this is new territory for Tesla. Typically, those neutral individuals, those would be those in the sell section. Gordon Johnson is great entertainment, but the dude is cherry picking data from every which angle that might be misconstrued as negative. Tesla is ramping up production faster than anybody in the auto industry ever did since about a century ago. The lack of context for the macroeconomic pressures Tesla's able to navigate and still produce quarter over quarter, record deliveries with record production. Q3 may be a slowdown, but get this, all of that is pre-planned so that they can vault themselves into Q4 producing more and more vehicles. You best believe Tesla's goal is to hit 2 million vehicles by the end of Q4. Giga Mexico is disappointing, but you gotta roll with the punches. More on that later.
I will say, all things considered, this name has seen a significant pullback. It's down about 20% off its highs. It's still up 103% this year. There is no auto player even close. I believe the closest one is Li Auto, which is up 89% this year. Totally different company at this point. NIO's up 2.5%. And then you look at some of the U.S. players in the auto space. Rivian, 24%. Lucid's down 15% this year. GM and Ford aren't even on the maps.
Damn!
So that's always my argument, is like, well, you could be pessimistic on Tesla shares, but they speak for themselves in terms of their year-to-date performance.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore here. I think that's the first thing that I would say, and this applies to beyond Tesla. You should really never take one person or one firm's opinion and use that as the basis for a decision. It's one piece of the puzzle. And no analyst is 100% right. None of them are really 100% wrong. They all have kind of different thoughts and methodologies to go about this, and maybe even different kind of end goals as to what they're trying to accomplish. What it sounds like in the case of I believe you said Gordon Johnson, the kind of notorious bear, doesn't sound like an overly optimistic economic reading. And so, to me, that gentleman's using Tesla as a method to bet against kind of the trajectory of where they see the overall market going. And from that logic standpoint, it kind of makes sense. It's a higher beta name. It's one that's certainly gained a lot of market cap over the years. It's shown a propensity to move pretty viciously when it does move lower. And so you can understand the logic. You don't have to agree with it. You don't necessarily have to think that Tesla's worth $24 to understand the message that's being sent. And the same way, Dan Ives has a way of kind of looking at all the positives and giving it a really optimistic viewpoint, and that's fine as well. Doesn't necessarily mean that either of their price targets is ultimately where Tesla's going to go. What really sticks out to me on Tesla's analyst kind of coverage is that it's become less binary as time's gone on, as it become a more mature company, one that regularly shows profitability and more sustainable growth and has expanded its factories and product offerings. There's actually a reasonable amount of them that have sort of neutral ratings and price targets that are sort of within the realm of where Tesla actually trades today, where before it was like Tesla's going to 1,000 or Tesla's going out of business. Those are your two choices, pick one. Now there's a lot more, Tesla's going to be like all these other stocks that become more entrenched in the market. They kind of ebb and flow with the overall market, and I think that's what we've seen.
I completely agree. We always said this was one of the most polarizing names as far as those that covered it. It still is, but at least in this sense, we've seen things start to stabilize. I think that's encouraging, a sign of a more mature company, a sign of a company that's been in the EV space much longer than so many of its peers. And I know that BYD gets a lot of love out of China, and we have seen analysts highlight that, but Tesla has right now staying power because they've been in this market longer. They've been profitable for quite some time. And you make a good point, Alex. I think, like anything, form your own opinions, use your best judgment.
All the neutral ratings. This is new territory for Tesla. Not to mention, the analysts on these mainstream financial news stations are becoming more aware of Tesla's staying power. The market's best kept secret is out, and it won't be long now before Tesla skyrockets. Ran into this article by Axios yesterday. I'll have it linked in the comments if you want to take a closer look. Scoop! Inside Tesla's decision to build a $25,000 global car. Elon Musk was so obsessed with robotaxis that he repeatedly vetoed his own plan to build a $25,000 electric car until skeptical Tesla executives persuaded him to hedge his bet. Looks like this will be included in Walter Isaacson's book. Best believe your boy will be reading that cover to cover. The notoriously stubborn Tesla techno king finally relented when aides revealed a plan to build both a robotaxi and an inexpensive small car side by side. A $25,000 electric car would be a game changer in the auto industry. Not just a $25,000 electric car, but to have a Tesla, which cost to produce is less than $25,000 so that you can actually profit while selling this car at that price. That's the game changer. Musk's fascination with self-driving robotaxis kept growing, and rightfully so. He predicted Tesla owners would earn more than $30,000 a year by dispatching their cars to run errands or give driverless rides to others. Over time, he believed robotaxis would eliminate the need for people to even own cars. There is still a very strong possibility of that occurring. Definitely would transform public transportation and expand its user base. But we're talking about a decade even after the technology is fully fleshed out. In November 2021, Musk gathered his top 5 lieutenants for dinner in Austin to start brainstorming a basic high-volume robotaxi. There is no amount that we could possibly build that will be enough. Someday, we want to be at 20 million a year. 2030, 2031 maybe? For nearly a year, they debated whether to play it safe and build a car with a steering wheel and pedals or make it truly autonomous. Regulators might not approve an autonomous car without traditional controls. Most of Musk's engineers pushed for the safer, conventional option. They had a more realistic outlook on how long it would take for Tesla's full self-driving technology to be ready. If we go down a path of having no steering wheel and FSD is not ready, we won't be able to put them on the road. The designer suggested making a car with a steering wheel and pedals that could be easily removed later. Musk was adamant. No mirrors, no pedals, no steering wheel. This is me taking responsibility for this decision. When his deputies still resisted, Musk got into one of his very cold moods. Elon is notorious for being very, very temperamental, especially when it comes to his vision. The man likes to get shit done and get shit done his way. That may rub some other alpha personalities the wrong way. Not everyone is going to be able to work with an Elon Musk. Let me be clear, Musk said slowly. This vehicle must be designed as a clean robotaxi. We're going to take that risk. It's my fault if it's up, but we are not going to design some sort of amphibian frog that's a halfway car. We are all in on autonomy. What does Jerry Buss say? I'm all in. That's what you do when you have a winner. Musk believed a Tesla robotaxi would be truly revolutionary, and it will be. This is the product that makes Tesla a $10 trillion company. People will be talking about this moment in 100 years. Your motherfucking right. But his deputies remained skeptical about the readiness of FSD and finally found a way to persuade him to cover his bet in a non-challenging way. At a secretive meeting late one evening in September of 2022, von Holzhausen and a few others presented data showing that a small, inexpensive global car was needed to meet Tesla's ambitious 50% annual growth rate target. You gotta appreciate the balls. This just goes to show that Tesla is not just a one-man show. There is a key man, and that man is Elon Musk. But there are so many people, so many talented individuals surrounding Elon Musk, sharing in that vision that Tesla is that transformative company. Should Tesla lose Elon Musk, the company would be just fine. It would be hurt. But looking long term, these guys know what it takes to transition the world to a sustainable energy economy. Elon Musk provides that catalyst, defying what tradition holds to be true and boiling it back down to first principles. As AI develops and matures, we need to be looking at everything differently. They convinced Musk that Tesla could build both the $25,000 car and the robotaxi on the next generation platform. Musk had long believed that Tesla's production system, the machine that builds the machine, was even more important to its success than its vehicle. Your motherfucking right. So he saw the opportunity to design a new high-speed, ultra-automated manufacturing process for both cars. Though initially unenthusiastic about the $25,000 car, Musk's attitude changed after a design review session in February 2023, when von Holzhausen put models of the robotaxi and the $25,000 car next to each other in the studio. If you recall Franz's enthusiasm at Investor Day, he wanted to show us what he had come up with that softened Elon Musk's heart toward the $25,000 car. Two things can be true. Robotaxis will revolutionize the way we get around. And thank the maker that Franz was adamant as well. And Elon has the ability to change his mind. Hats off to both of these men. Both had a futuristic design like the Tesla Cybertruck. Musk loved the designs. When one of these comes around the corner, people will think they are seeing something from the future. Now it looks like Giga Mexico has run into some snags and won't be up and running as fast as anticipated. But I believe Austin will be capable of producing these next-gen platforms. The retooling of the Austin factory, which is slowing down Model Y production, won't be just about the Cybertruck. Oh no, we're going to be making lines that fit the next-gen platform as well. And when Giga Mexico is finally up and running, that will be a major export hub considering how cheap that they're going to be able to build those cars down there. It's not a guarantee, but I'm willing to put my money on the line. That's all I got for you today. Be easy. Peace.